Hello, thank you for joining today. Let's go ahead and start today's practice in a comfortable seated position of your choice. You're going to come into a chair, make sure your back is up against the chair and your feet are firmly placed on the ground. And if you're taking a seat on the ground, maybe you add a block or a blanket under the hips. Maybe you come into a crisscross applesauce or send the legs out long. Take any adjustments, any movement in this moment so that you can start to come to a place where you can relax on command. Begin to allow your shoulders to soften, your gaze to release or eyes close. Your jaw, release any tension it might be holding onto. And then take a moment to check in the abdomen, noticing what's going on in your stomach or your nerves in that general area. And then take the awareness up into the torso. Maybe noticing your heartbeat, or maybe noticing any emotions you might be feeling. And then we'll draw our awareness into our headspace. Noticing any headaches or congestion or any thoughts that might be swirling around in our mind. And then finally, we'll take a moment with our limbs, our hands, our feet, our arms and legs. Simply notice what there is to notice there, physical or otherwise. And as we settle into this moment today, we're going to start to talk about agitation. Maybe over the last few weeks or months, or even just a moment here and there, you find yourself agitated for different reasons. This is a natural emotion we all feel sometimes. Often we label it as a negative emotion. But all emotions are an opportunity to learn. I used to think that being agitated was a very negative thing. But now I see that it is a moment to learn. Mindfulness has allowed me to view agitation as an emotional teacher. Agitation can cause us to act out in anger, sadness, or even disassociation because it makes us feel uncomfortable. But rather than avoiding what is uncomfortable or even acting out against it, instead, we can learn to soften into that discomfort, to become curious as to what these agitations are trying to teach us. We can allow these ripples in the water to settle so that we can start to see what lies underneath. So just like that physical check we did at the beginning of class, take this moment to scan the emotional body, to see what is causing any agitation for you. in this moment, big or small. And as you breathe, can you allow the heart to begin to soften, allowing it to open up to what there is to learn? Now we'll move into our breathing exercise. When I'm feeling agitated, I find that lion's breath is one of the most effective breaths for drawing me into the present moment. Maybe because of its ridiculousness, or maybe just the passion or the forcefulness of the breath allows you to feel a little bit different afterwards. So we'll take this lion's breath for a few rounds of breath. And if you're familiar with lion's breath, you can start whenever you feel comfortable. I'll go ahead and walk you through the breath. We take a deep inhale through our nose if it's available. And then as we exhale out through the mouth with an audible sound, and even sticking our tongue out just a little bit or a lot, whatever feels comfortable. And I'll demonstrate the breath for a few cycles and join whenever it feels comfortable. One last big lion's breath, filling that lungs with air completely and really releasing it all on your exhale. And then allow your breathing to find its natural rhythm. No forcing or changing. And as we move through our practice today, remember that every move, every stretch, every pose, even every agitation is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to connect with the wisdom that life has to offer. Great job. We'll take this last moment to offer ourselves a little bit of gratitude for anything in our lives that we deserve some gratitude for today or this week. And then as you're ready, we'll start to add some gentle movement, whether we wiggle fingers or toes or shimmy or shake or stretch the arms overhead, and then wiggle the eyes open. And let's add some gentle movement into our practice. Go ahead and bring our hands to a prayer at heart center. And then as we inhale, I want you to drop your hands by your side, flip the palms up, circle them up and overhead. Now they can be open wide or they can come all the way together or anywhere in between, finding what feels best for your shoulders. Once you reach your utmost point, go ahead and flip the palms down or out, and then start to reverse the movement on your exhale. And maybe with the next 3 cycles of this, we add that lion's breath. Beautiful job. All righty. We're going to release from our easy seated position. If you're in the chair, go ahead and come out to the edge of your chair. Widen your knees a little wider than hip distance. And we're all going to come into a child's pose of our choice. Now, if you're seated in the chair, maybe you keep your hands on your legs and you start to hinge forward. You can keep your hands on your legs. You can reach them out to a prop or to the floor, or you can even rest your elbows on your knees. On the mat, we're going to come onto hands and knees. Take the knees as wide as feels good, the toes together, and we're going to start to send our arms out long and stretch the forehead down towards the mat. We'll go ahead and take one more breath wherever you're at. And then we're going to start to find a little bit of connection between our forehead and a surface. So if your forehead is touching the mat, you are welcome to just stay right there. If it doesn't, maybe you bring a block under the forehead or a pillow. And another great option is to bring the hand or elbows to either the ground or your knees, bringing hands into those prayer pose, and then let your forehead rest against your thumbs or even the palms of your hands. So wherever you're at, begin to notice this connection between your forehead and the surface that it's resting at. And then gently rock through the neck, giving your forehead a little gentle massage. Beautiful. Go ahead and find just a little bit of stillness. And then as we inhale, let's come back up to a straight spine. As we come into a butterfly or cobbler's pose, we'll bring the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. You're in the chair, you can keep your feet on the ground, or maybe bring a prop under your feet, drawing those feet up just a little bit closer to your hips. If you're on the mat, we're pretty early in our practice, so feel free to always add a prop or two under the knees. You're having a little support here as we start to open up through the hips. Let's go ahead and take the arms out wide to a T, and then we'll flip one palm up and one palm down. So we start to pull the palm down hand in that direction, and then switch sides, rotating the shoulders. Add a little rocking motion left to right as you sway at the hips, rotate through the shoulder cuffs. Great job. All right, come back through center. Exhale to release the hands down by the knees, and then bring the knees together to release those inner hips. And then let's find our way into a tabletop position of your choice. If you're taking chair poses, you can use the tall part or the seat of your chair, hands under shoulders, feet under hips, gentle bend in the knees. You're taking it from the mat. We're coming into an all fours, tabletop, hands and knees. Finding that same alignment through the arms and through the legs. Gentle bend in the knees. You can tuck or untuck those toes. Their next exhale, let's begin to drop the belly and lift the gaze. And then as we exhale, round through the spine for angry cat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. This time as you exhale, maybe you find that lion's breath is part of our angry cat. And start to find the movement or the breath on your own. Good job. Go ahead and find your flat back of tabletop. And then let's start to thread the needle as we take that right hand out to the side, spiral it out above you, opening up through the heart space. And then with our exhale, we're going to drop that right hand in between our left arm and our body as we pull it through as far as feels good. You're on the ground. You're welcome to drop that shoulder and ear towards the mat. Inhale, open it back up. Exhale, thread the needle. Take that rotation 2 more times on your own. Inhale, we open up. Exhale, plant the hand under the shoulder. Let's take that side 2. Left arm reaches up, opens up. Exhale, this first one, we hold it as we pull that hand through. Maybe we drop the shoulder and ear towards the mat or towards your prop. Doesn't have to rest. Beautiful. Inhale to open it back up. And then we'll take that rotation for about 3 breaths. Inhaling to open up, exhaling to pull it through. Great job. Last breath here. Exhale, go ahead and plant the palms. If you're on the mat, go ahead and tuck your toes and then come to rise to stand on your knees. And if we're in our chair, we're going to take one last seated option here. So we're going to come back into our seat. We're going to take our right leg and have a 90-degree bend as it comes a little out to the right side. And then let's start to send our left leg long, whether you're on the mat or in the chair, coming into a gate pose. With our inhale, we'll start to circle those arms up and overhead. And then with our exhale, take your left hand onto the left hip, or begin to slide it down the left leg as you hinge over towards the left, opening up through the right side body. Inhale to bring it back through arms overhead. And then drop the right hand by the right hip, either onto the floor, the chair, or another prop of your choice. And then stretch the left fingertips as far from those left toes as you can, taking it into a counter balance, a counter stretch. Great job. Inhale to bring it back through center. Let the arms drop. We'll step in that left leg and send the right leg out long for gate. As you're ready, inhale, circle arms, reach up and overhead. Exhale, we begin to lean down the right leg, taking that big side bend through the left side this time. Inhale to bring hands through center. Exhale, let's counterbalance, counter stretch, bringing left hand down by the left hip as you stretch the right fingertips as far from the right toes as possible. Feel that length and extension throughout that entire right side of your body. Great job. Inhale to bring it back through center. We'll bring our hands to a prayer and then step that right foot back in. All righty, let's all come on up to standing. Join me in a mountain pose. Feel free to take any movement as you get settled here. Inhale, let arms circle up and overhead. With our exhale, we're going to cactus the arms, pulling the heart forward, lifting the gaze, squeezing those shoulder blades towards each other. Beautiful job. Inhale, tall mountain. Exhale, hands to a prayer as you hinge and forward fold. We'll arrive at our forward fold, hands resting on our prop, the floor, or our legs. And then start to take any movement your body is wanting here. Maybe you shake the head, yes or no. Maybe you take it in circles. Maybe you slide the jaw. Maybe you swing the hips. Maybe you grab opposite elbow and sway from side to side like a willow tree in the breeze. Eventually letting your hands find their previous location if you grabbed opposite elbows, and then finding just a little bit of stillness, sinking a little deeper on that exhale into your forward fold. Inhale, we press into our hands to halfway lift. We're going to pause there, engaging our core. And then shift your weight into your toes and the balls of your feet so that your heels start to lift off the ground a little or a lot. And you're putting more weight in your hands, shoulders, and wrists. Great job. Go ahead and rock back to the heels. Let the toes start to peel up, maybe even the balls of the feet. And then maybe a little rock back and forth at your own pace. All right, go ahead and find a little stillness. Bend the knees, sink the hips, top of the head rolls down to forward fold, and then start to unfurl the spine, coming back up, tall mountain, reaching up. And then with our next exhale, let's drop the right hand to the right hip and lean it over. Side bend. Inhale through center. Take it to the left. Inhale through center. As we exhale, we're going to cactus, but then twist at the hips to the right. Inhale through center. Twist at the hips to the left. Inhale through center. Reach it up really high. And then with our next exhale, begin to bend into the knees and sink into the hips and bring your hands to a prayer, or maybe they're on your prop for just a little extra support. Great job. Really work to keep the spine straight, the core engaged here, even if that means you come out of it just a little bit. All righty. From here, we're going to take the right hand to the left knee or to the left side of the chair, and then open up the left hand behind you, twisting your chair pose. Inhale to come back through center. At any point you need to come out of chair, feel free to do so, and then join us when you're ready. You're doing great. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to bring it back through center. Straighten the spine, straighten the legs. You're doing great. Take any movement you need here. Exhale, sink it back in. Chair pose. Now we're going to add just a little bit of a balance challenge. So again, you're more than welcome to hold on to something for a little added support. And then begin to lift one heel and then the other, pedaling through your chair pose. And if it feels okay in your body, maybe lifting both heels a little or a lot. Notice any agitation, and if so, can you Breathe through it to learn what there is to learn. Beautiful job. Last breath here. Both heels come down. Inhale, tall mountain to release. Exhale, full cactus arms, pulling the heart forward, squeezing those shoulder blades, lifting the chin and gaze. Great job. Exhale to release to mountain pose. And feel free to take any movement your body wants. All right, with our next breath, we'll take our right foot back. We'll take the toes out to the side, but the heel pointing towards the back of our space. As we come into a warrior one, we'll make sure our hips are pointing towards the front of the space. And as we're ready, we'll start to bend into that front knee a little or a lot. And feel free to change how wide your legs are from each other or along right to left so that you find the most comfortable space for your body. That right hip is pulling forward. That left hip is pulling back. Core is engaged. Maybe hands around your prop, a prayer. Or maybe you start to lift one or both hands alongside the ears up into the air. Beautiful warriors here. Make sure you're squeezing your thighs towards each other. Really keep this active in your lower body, no matter what your arms are doing. Our next exhale, maybe bend into that front knee a little bit deeper. And then inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, hands come to hips or to your props and start to hinge over that front leg. Now you can keep your hands on your hips or maybe you bring them down to your prop on either side of your feet or your foot. You're taking it into a pyramid pose. We're getting a nice juicy stretch through that front leg. And if we're noticing it strongly in the ligament of the front knee, go ahead and bend the knee so the stretch moves into the muscle. Great job. With our next inhale, we're going to root to rise, straight spine. Keep that left leg forward. Start to take that left hand, stretch it up above you, and then bring it to your left hip. Slide it over to your right hip, or maybe down the right leg. And take that right hand now, swooping it overhead to the left. Revolving your pyramid pose. Great job. Inhale to untwist the spine. Exhale to step that back foot in, mountain pose. Feel free to take any movement you'd like here. As you're ready, step left foot back. As we come into our warrior one. Take your time, set up all those points we talked about before. Deep bend in the knees, thighs are active, hips are pointing forward, right hip pulling forward, left hip pulling back. And as you're ready, hands can go to whatever placement feels good. So heart, lift, or prop. We're going to hold this for just a few breaths, noticing what there is to notice. And if you're feeling wobbly, widen your left to right placement of the feet. Imagine standing on skis versus on a balance beam. Great job. One last breath here with an exhale. Maybe sink it just a little bit more into that front knee. Exhale, hands circle to the hips, straightening out both legs. We start to find our hinge over that front leg. Hands can stay on hips, or you can start to release them to a prop or the floor. We take that big, beautiful stretch. over that big, beautiful front leg. Inhale, root to rise. Same hand as the front leg comes to the hip. Then I'm gonna slide through the back to the other hip. You're always welcome to keep it there or begin to slide it down the leg a little or a lot. And then swoop that other hand over to the other side, revolving your pyramid. One last breath here. Inhale to unwind the spine. And then let's step it back into our mountain pose. All right, we're going to come back to that first side. We're going to step that foot back as we come into a lunge position. Go ahead and bend into both knees. We're still pulling those thighs together. We're engaging our core. Hands are resting on hips, a prop, a prayer, or maybe they're floating up in the air. With our next exhale, I want us to bring our hands down towards our front knee and then maybe inside that front knee onto a prop of our choice. As we take a lizard lunge, that front knee is a little bit of a side trajectory as we sink into our hips. Now we're going to keep the same hand as our front leg firmly planted on our prop of choice, but then take the same hand as your back leg and reach it back towards that back leg. Actually not reaching towards the leg, but instead reaching back behind us, opening up. Great job. Go ahead and take that back hand, bring it back into your lizard lunge. Let that hand stay. Lift the front hand towards the ceiling, twisting. Great job. Exhale, both hands come back, grounded lizard lunge. That first hand, the same one as the back leg, is going to start to peel up towards the ceiling. And then allow that back heel to twist and come down towards the ground. And as we press into that front leg, we're going to start to root to rise, warrior two. And we're just there. Look at that. That's amazing. Beautiful job. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Turn the toes out towards the side of your mat. Inhale, five-pointed star. Great job. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Bring heels in towards each other, and then take it into a shallow squat. Now you can find stillness here, or maybe a little bounce and wiggle. You could even lift heels or toes. Any movement or stillness that feels good for you. After that, maybe agitating warrior flow we just did. Inhale, five-pointed star. Step back to the front of your mat as we get ready for side two. Our exhale, we step opposite foot back. And we're in our lunge position. Take your time, set up your balance, engage your core, engage those thighs. Maybe do something with your hands. Great job. Now with our next exhale, we're going to find a prop inside of that front leg. We're going to bring our hands down to that prop for our lizard lunge, letting the knee start to come out towards the side a little bit. You can lift and lower the hips as much as feels good for you. Beautiful lizard lunge. All right, we're going to keep the same hand as our front foot on its prop and then begin to reach the back hand towards behind us, twisting open. Great job. Release both hands to your props. Same hand as the front foot begins to twist up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release both hands to your props. Now, the same as the back foot, twist up towards the ceiling. Begin to allow the back foot heel to come down towards the side of the mat, toes towards the opposite side. Really press into that front foot. Root to rise, warrior two. Send the arms out, left to right. Great job. Inhale, straighten both legs, turn the toes to the same direction. And then with our next exhale, you can keep your hands on your hips or bring them to a prop, but we're going to start to hinge into a forward fold. Hands can rest anywhere on the ground, prop, or maybe you grab opposite elbows and take a rag doll here. Beautiful job. Last breath here. Begin to walk your hands over towards the right leg, either on your prop, on your leg, or the floor. Nice twist. Come back through center, take it to the left. Back through center. From here, we're going to add just a little bit of a one-legged squat, going left to right at our own pace. You can go deep or shallow. You can keep those hips up high, or if you'd like to sink down a little bit lower, you're welcome to do that. Make sure you're balancing out between the two sides. However long you're holding on one side, hold that long on the other side. Finish with both sides. And then go ahead and start to walk your feet into your mountain pose. All right, for our last standing pose, we're going to find a downward dog of your choice. So if you're using your chair, you're welcome to put it up against a surface so it's a little more steady. You could also use a steadier surface like a wall or a piece of furniture that's not going to move. And as always, if floor practice is part of your thing, you are welcome to take your downward dog on the floor. But make sure your hands are about shoulder distance apart. And begin to walk your hips back, creating that familiar V shape. Your head dangles between your arms. You have a generous bend in your knees. And as we're setting up in this downward dog, take a moment to pedal through the legs, shifting the weight from left to right. And eventually finding a little bit of stillness. Now your heels could be lifted, or they could be reaching towards the ground or touching. It's all up to you. And we're gonna end our active sun salutation portion of our practice by taking 5 lion's breaths from our downward facing dog. Inhaling deeply through the nose if it's available, and really letting it all out on that exhale. Again, maybe the tongue sticks out. Maybe you imagine yourself as an angry cat. Steering away your agitation, not because it's bad, but because there's something to learn just below the surface. After your 5th one, go ahead and release your downward dog and make your way into a seated position on the ground or in your chair. From our seated position, we're going to take a figure 4. If you're in the chair, that means bringing that right ankle up towards your right knee, if that's available. And if it's not, you're always welcome to bring a prop or leave it on the floor. But our goal here is to open the knee out to the side, rolling onto the edge of the foot, flexing through the ankle, keeping the spine straight. For taking it from the floor, I recommend coming into an M sit, sending your left leg long, then bringing that right leg and ankle over. Now you can keep it right here with that left leg long, or you can start to bend into that left knee, drawing the right shin a little closer to your heart space. And if you're in the chair, you're welcome to start to hinge the heart space a little closer to your shin. Be it that deep hip opening. Feel your breath here. Notice how that feels. We did a lot of work in our hips today, so we might be feeling a little agitated in that area. If you're seated on the ground and you bent your left knee, go ahead and send it long again. From here, we're going to find a rock the baby leg. So you can grab your foot and your knee with your hand. You can grab your pant leg. You can even wrap a strap around the leg, but start to rock it left to right, noticing how that hip is feeling after all that movement. And as always with rock the baby leg, if you want to bring your hand down by the hip, you're welcome to do that. And then you can roll to the outer edges of the glute, the upper edges of the glute, and give yourself a nice good massage. Come back to your straight spine. We're either going to hold behind the leg or we're going to wrap that strap around the bottom of the foot as we start to send the leg long out in front of us. Now, if we can get it up to a 45-degree angle, that is great, but not necessary. Just having it lengthened in front of us, we'll start to stretch through the back of this leg. Be mindful, you're welcome to keep a bend in the knee. And really notice what's happening with your core. Are you leaning back to make this happen? If so, engage your muscles of your abdomen so that you can sit up a little taller Even if that foot comes down a little bit, that's okay. One last breath here. Our next exhale, we're going to release the strap or release our hands. Keep the leg right where it is. Really engage the core and then see how slowly we can bring that foot down to the earth. Once it arrives, go ahead and give them a shake and a wiggle. Any movement your body might be requesting as we set up for side two. We'll start by bringing the left ankle into our figure four, maybe bending that right knee if we'd like to on the ground. Flexing through that left ankle. Really opening up that left knee to the side, that left hip. And if you'd like to start to hinge or bring the heart space a little closer to your shin, you're welcome to do that. A little or a lot. We'll take just a few breaths here. Inhale to find your straight spine. And we'll start to rock the baby leg. We'll be taking the hand and rocking to the outer edges. And then starting to hold behind the leg or put a strap around it. Send that leg out long in front of you, 45-ish degree angle. Keep the spine straight, even if that means it's less of an angle. You're doing great. One more breath here. Our exhale allows us to release that leg, controlling it with our thigh muscle and our abdominals. We start to lower all the way down. Great job. Once the foot arrives, shake, wiggle, take any movement your body needs. And we'll end today's class in a ball shape. So if you're in the chair, you might want to bring your torso down to your thighs. If it's available in your body, you could also hinge back and bring your knees up towards your torso. And if you're in the ground, you can roll those knees in towards your heart. And you can either settle into a little bit of stillness here, or you could add a rock side to side. From our ball shape, we'll start to create a little bit of tension. Begin by squeezing your hands into fists and then squeezing your feet into knots. And then start to activate almost every muscle in your body that you can control until you've created a little ball of furious tension throughout your body. Maybe you squeeze your jaw, maybe you're clenching your teeth, maybe you're furrowing your brow, but just create as much aggression and much tension in your body throughout your muscles until you're a tight little ball. And then as you exhale, release all that tension and go ahead and come into your final resting pose of choice. Begin to welcome this moment of tranquility. As you settle in, we begin to conclude our yoga practice today. And I invite you to find your most comfortable position, either sitting or laying down, using any or none of the props of your choice. Maybe you close your eyes gently, or maybe you simply soften your gaze as you allow your breath to flow naturally. Really settle into the stillness as you feel the ground beneath you, steady and unwavering. Let your breath be natural, unforced, and take a moment to notice any restlessness, any echoes of movement still rippling through your body and your mind. Take a deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs. And then slowly exhale as you release that excess tension from your body. And allow yourself to be present here and now, embracing your version of stillness of this moment. And as we continue to breathe deeply and slowly, begin to picture yourself standing by the edge of a beautiful, serene pool of water. The surface of this water is calm, reflecting the soft hues of the sky above. And it's the perfect temperature for your ultimate comfort. But then notice and visualize the water beginning to swirl gently, creating a whirling, swirling motion. Notice how the current gradually becomes more turbulent, mirroring any agitation we sometimes feel within ourselves. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth, and the sound of rushing currents starts to fill the space around you. The water churns in a restless spiral, eddies twisting, waves colliding. The echo of the agitation we can carry within. As you step closer, watch the dance of the water, its relentless motion. It does not resist its own turbulence. It simply moves. With each inhale, feel yourself observing without judgment. And then with each exhale, feel a softening, a space start to open up. Now we'll bring our breath to the water itself. With your next inhale, the pool's motion begins to slow just slightly. With your exhale, the turbulence starts to settle. Just a fraction. Breath by breath, you send stillness into the currents. Inhale, gentle. Exhale, soft. The water is shifting, responding, even yielding. With each breath you take, you imagine inhaling the sense of calm and exhaling any agitation or turbulence within you. Inhale deeply, drawing in the tranquility of the nature's scene around you. Exhaling slowly, releasing the chaos and letting it dissipate into the air. As the churning fades, clarity emerges. The reflection on the surface starts to sharpen. What was once chaotic blur now reveals patterns, images, wisdom that was hidden beneath the storm. As the water settles, we can reflect on the lessons that agitation can teach us. It is a reminder of our strength, our resilience, and our ability to navigate through the chaos. We can embrace this moment of stillness and clarity, knowing that you have the power to transform agitation into tranquility. Now step forward one more time towards the water's edge. It's even calm enough to wade in if you'd like. The movement is still there, but it no longer overpowers you. You can feel the warm or cool water touching your skin, swirling around your ankles. It's soft current instead of turbulent storms. And you can move through it now. Learn from it. You are not stuck in the chaos. Instead, you are part of the rhythm, and you can choose how to navigate it. Taking a deep breath in, maybe even the deepest breath of your day so far. Feeling the steady earth beneath you once more. Exhaling, releasing. The pool is still there, but it no longer pulls you under. The storm has passed, and in its wake, you are clear, steady, and present. We start to deepen our breath, adding gentle movements, wiggling fingers and toes. And when you're ready, opening the eyes, coming up to an upright position in your own time and in your own way, facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this week you take a little time to turn agitation into calm. Thank you so much and have a great week.
Thank you,
Till next
Lindy.
time.